I've biked over from Napier to Hastings, a whole hour's worth, and here I am at the Hastings Cemetery and Crematorium. I've just restored or given a good scrub to my great-grandfather's brother's World War One plaques. They both survived the war and came home, but neither married and had children, so there's nobody to do this for them apart from me. I've got a list with me, which is going to be far more than I can do today by myself, but this is the first one I had on my list. The picture on Find a Grave was really filthy, and somebody's obviously since cleaned it. So you can see the reason why it's important to go around the cemeteries and photograph and upload these pictures so that people like me can actually make a plan when we're coming to do some work in the cemetery. So this is my first one for today. You can't really tell from his headstone that he served in the First World War. Richard David Collins was born in Miani, Napier in 1892, and he'd had 18 months of military training when the First World War was declared. So a week after the war was declared, he signed up and he sailed with the main body out of Wellington in October 1914, and he served at Gallipoli. He survived that without being injured and went on to serve in France on the Western Front. On the 16th of June 1916, he was wounded by gunshots, multiple wounds, up to 20 of them, at Armentières in France, and he was evacuated to England, where he had 2 operations to try and get as much shrapnel out of him as they could. He was then sent back to New Zealand as he was no longer fit for military service in the war. So after he recovered back in New Zealand, he went back to work at the Post and Telegraph Service in Hastings, which is what he'd been doing before the war. He then was having an operation in the Napier Hospital, and I actually wonder if it's something to do with his war service, and he ended up dying on the 30th of June, aged 1918. He had actually married, but he had no children. So there's nothing on this grave to say that he's really a soldier, although you can see at the bottom there that it says sleep, soldier, sleep. Hard to know if that, was a hint to that, but there's no poppy on here, but at least it's cleaner than I was expecting. So this is the grave of Richard David Collins, World War I New Zealand soldier.